It's your girl, Pop Culture Goddess, and we are talking about Murad Merali. Okay? He just needs to admit that he is doing it for the bag. He did it for the bag, he did it for the money. But instead of just saying, look, I'm not into race play, but I am in the kink world. I am a Dom, and I did this because I make great money at it, and I did this, and it enabled me to live comfortably enough that I could, after some years of doing this, get out of it. But instead, what we got was him using his psychology skills to manipulate, to twist the story. And when you start saying, oh, now your clients were all in their 50s, 60s, and 40s, when you look at those clips that have been posted of him with these subs and slaves and all these, these guys, foot freak guys that he was with, if you look, none of them look like they're in their 40s and 60s, do they? No. So I feel like this two apologies and what he's telling other YouTubers in interviews and what he's telling people are lies. Okay, because I don't know about you, but he's a master or he's a top or a master or a dom. So he's in the dominant position in this scenario or dynamic. So he's the one that sets the tone, and he's the one that sets the rules, and he's the one that, crafts these sessions and role play sessions and stuff. So if you didn't want to do certain things, you just don't do them. But to then say that these subs and slaves, they were beating on him and stuff like this, and you, whoo, bye. Because then in the next breath, in another in an interview, he's in one part he's saying, "Oh, they beat him if he didn't do what they wanted him to do as far as this race play and stuff." That's what he wants us to play. And then in the next, he's like, "Oh, I didn't know how dangerous, or I didn't know, how looking back, how dangerous, or this could have been, for me." Well, it could have been, or was it? Because in one breath you're saying you were beat if you didn't, submit to these submissives, and do what they wanted in their sessions. And in the next breath you're saying, oh, it could have been so dangerous, or it could have been a bad situation, but I did it for the bag. So I'm really confused with this. And honestly, I honestly just want him to be truthful. Just say it. Don't give me the spiel about, oh, what happened when you were a kid. Once you're 20 something years old, you can make better choices. The choices is work two damn jobs, flip a burger, you work two jobs. There's plenty of people who didn't choose the kink roles to be a kink and do kink to make a bag. They chose to work two jobs. They chose to do whatever they had to do to hustle to get out of their situation. All right. So to say that the only thing you had was this kink, boy, bye. Boy, stop. Come on. But let's just get into this right here with this man, okay? So Murad Merali caused a stir on social media earlier this year after explicit content was leaked online. The podcast host and YouTuber shared a video titled Addressing My Past that, that includes a trigger warning for heavy and emotional content. Okay, he, as a psychologist or a person that study any type of psychology, he knows exactly how to trigger emotions from his audience, which he knows is mostly women. He has studied this the analytics, and he has studied human emotion, especially women and trauma, and black women who have a lot of trauma and have a lot of struggles, and had to do stuff to in order to get by. So he knows by saying certain things it will trigger certain responses and emotions, and I can relate to your situation, and also enable him to squeeze through and skate full responsibility. Yes. So the podcast host and YouTuber shared a video, okay? And he was trying to address them allegations. Okay, so the allegations on Twitter included race play and extreme fetish, where two consensual people use racial slurs and derogatory comments during play. Okay, keyword consensual people. So both agreed to this content from his alleged OnlyFans account and but fetish material. Now, here's the crazy thing. In this audio that he's talking, he talks about, oh, well, when I was doing it, they didn't have OnlyFans. And I set up my own website. You know why he set up his own website? So he can get the whole entire bag. Because look, he's trying to let me just see if I can play this if it gets to that part. Okay, so thank you. That's the real you. That part is the real of him. I just wanted the bag. I just wanted the bag. I just wanted the bag. Okay. And once I got enough money to do something else, I moved on. And he had a new opportunity. So he made money race playing minorities and moved on to getting the bag from black women. That's all. He just moved on to one different type of hustle with minorities. His hustle is minorities in some way or fashion. So he made his bag, humiliating black, Asian, all types of different ethnicities, except for white, of course. I don't know. He probably did white too. I guarantee you. I guarantee you, he wasn't just. He was doing the whole rainbow coalition of races. He was, and to make that bag. And once he made enough, he realized, okay, I put some work in 2019 in this other thing right here, and it's paying off, and I'm gonna do something else. But for him to pretend like let me see if I can find this. Hmm. So that's the truth. That's the truth. Back then, he didn't give a shish. Back then, his morals wasn't bothered. Back then, it was all about the bag. It was all about making the money. It was all about making a couple months worth of rent. It was all about the travel. Because if you look at the pictures, okay, look at it. He was living, look at the pictures. Look at it, soaking up the sun. Look at this, got the legs spread, showing the feet. Look at that, living his best. That's right, showing the feet. Look at it, living his best, showing the feet. Look at it, showing off the chest. Okay, look at it, showing off the chest again and showing the feet. Okay, all about look there you go, showing feet. Okay, living his best. Look at that. This is, I mean, this is some pretty nice accommodations, right? I mean, this isn't no struggle apartment or struggle villa. I mean, honestly, he was living a pretty good life, hustling minorities, hustling race play, hustling this kink. He was living his best gosh damn life. Look, yeah, look, thumbs up. Happy, happy. Look at this. This is a nice crib. Okay. It was looking pretty mother effing good. He's living good. He's living his fabulous life. Look at this. Feet showing again, right? This is showing feet. Look at this. I mean, what struggle is he talking about? The see, he is, oh my gosh, what the Native Americans used to say, some people talk with forked tongues. They say one thing, but it's another. He just admitted back when he was doing all of this, he didn't care. He wasn't, his moral compass wasn't ticking off. He didn't feel bad because he was getting the bag. He was getting to the money. He was living good. He was traveling. He was going to New York, going to events, going to Fashion Week, living his best mother flipper life. You know when his moral compass kicked in? When he got caught. That's when it hit him. Ah, what I did was wrong. And then he gives us his best Jim Baker, Tammy Faye Baker situation. I have sinned, congregation. But before you condemn me and stop following me and not, paying your membership dues and clicking to watch me because I'm almost at 1 million subscribers. I want you to know about my childhood. Excuse me? Do you know how many people are out here who had effed up childhoods? Hmm? There's some people. Look, when you think about that look, I'm just gonna say the R. Kelly case. Look at that. There's some children that were abused from the time they were teens all the way into their 20s. Stop it. Stop trying to use something that happened in your childhood. Stop trying to use it as a crutch and a pass for the F shit that you did and enjoyed and admitted in this mother flipping interview that you didn't give a damn. Your moral compass wasn't clicking off. You were living your best life. And like the interviewer said, you were happy. You happily monetized off of it. And then he has the nerve to talk about, oh, as when I started, there was no OnlyFans, this, that, and the other. There were other websites. There were plenty of websites that you could have went to actually get paid off this foot stuff and everything else that you were doing. You didn't want to because you didn't want to share your bag with anyone. That's why you started your own website. It wasn't because there was nothing in town that you could, put your stuff up on. Well, that's a big lie. And people who are not in the kink community would believe it. Oh yes, the reason why he started his own website was because there was nothing else out there for him to you be able to put his foot pictures up, and you'd believe it. But that's a lie. There were plenty of websites. The reason why he didn't do it, or probably continue to do it, of putting stuff on these websites, is because he wanted a larger share of the money. He wanted all of it. So he made enough money putting it up and doing sessions and doing everything where he could take his content off of these sites and put it on his own website. Not only that, he eventually did go on OnlyFans, and he did have an OnlyFans page. Got to make more profit. It wasn't until recently, because OnlyFans hasn't been around for 10, 15 years. So recently he was on OnlyFans. And I feel like the only reason he stopped doing what he was doing, you want the real truth? You want the real truth on why he stopped doing what he was doing? The real truth is the reason why he stopped is because he knew he was becoming, oh, excuse me. He knew he was becoming famous. And eventually, every famous person who has a kind of dirty past, they all know eventually all of this will come to light. So when he got enough famous that he didn't need these bags anymore, he left it behind. He left it behind, hoping that he left early enough out of this situation that it wouldn't come back to bite him in his ass, and he could go on, continue to be on YouTube and be holier than thou and look down on others from his throne and basically make him seem like he was the perfect one. As he stuck his nose in the air and gave that superior complex attitude. That's what he did. And now he wants to absolve himself and pretend like, oh no, everything that you see is something that somebody else posted. I have no hand in that. Oh, I didn't write that. Oh, I didn't say that. No, you did. Own it. Okay, you know how many people are into race play or in some type of extreme kink? A lot of people. A lot of people. Okay, a lot. There's a whole community for ebony people that are like do ebony superiority or ebony, um, supremacy, all kinds of stuff. There's all types. There are plenty of black women get involved in, black men involved in. There's plenty of race play that goes on. People do it all the time. It's consensual. No one's forced to do it. He wasn't forced to do it. He chose to do it because it gave him the biggest bag. Just admit to it. But don't give me that spiel of the things that I went through as a child. Okay, because there's a big difference between what you went through as a child and what you did for a bag in your 20s. Okay, you were in your 20s when you did this. 20s and child, two different things, my dear. Two different things. But he wants to make it seem like, and he wants to convince his audience and us that the childhood was so close to when he was doing this fetish stuff. It wasn't. It wasn't. He's trying to link it. He's trying to, and then it's like, okay, so you were abused when you were a child, okay, and you escaped out of that. You managed to escape. You managed to, get on your feet. You managed to survive somehow, right? And then you got into this lifestyle because it made you money, and you continued to make money with it until you were able to find another hustle in the community and make money in the vanilla community. No problem. No problem. Just own it. Just own it, dude. Just own it, okay? I honestly believe that if you just came out and be like, look, yes, I did it. I did it for a bag. I did it because I enjoyed the kink community. I liked what I did. I enjoyed being a master. I enjoyed doing all of this, and just move on. But you can't make me believe that, oh, you were, these people were, these subs, these slaves, like were abusing you and forcing you to do this. Where's the police reports? Where's the police reports? You're 20 something years old. Where are the police reports? Because some of these subs and slaves that had sessions with you, they did talk on Twitter, and they don't seem to be saying that the same story that you're saying. Mhm. When people were asking about you and asking for you to, to continue to do sessions and work, why didn't you ever mention the reason why I stopped is because these subs and slaves were abusive to me? Why was that never mentioned? You basically mentioned you leaving this lifestyle because you got another hustle. I'm just done with this. I'm moving on. Hmm. And why would you, you know, he's trying to convince us that the whole point was him trying to escape abuse, escape abuse, escape abuse. So you were, abused as child, allegedly. Allegedly, that's the spiel he's giving you. And then lived your life for a little bit and then somehow got caught up in the lifestyle. And for a few years, you lived a lifestyle. You traveled, you lived your best life. You went all over from New York to, overseas to all over the place, lived in, some nice, beautiful, mansions. And, look at that smiley face, enjoying your hookah. Look at that. Looks like you're, overseas somewhere. Look at that nice feet pictures, making sure the feet can be seen so you can get the coins and living. Yep, there you go, showing that dominant. Look at this. There you go. Look, there it is. Arab Masters. This is your account. You made this, and this is the name that you went by. This is your username. That was your username. Hmm? That was. It is culture vulture. I'm just saying. That's a plane, right? You're on like a private jet kind of type of plane. Yeah, living your best life. Living your best life, baby. Living your best life, yeah. Living your best life. Hmm? I can't make it. I just can't. I can't. I can't. I can't. Just can't. Mm, mm, mm. Where's the truth? What's the truth, dude? Tell us the truth. You did it for the bag. And just call it a day. But to keep spinning even when you said let me explain things. The first thing you start off is something that as a child. That's your go-to excuse. I use it as an excuse and it masked over very important excuse. And I'm glad you admitted to it. I used it as an excuse. And it masked over very important conversations that should have happened. What it was a missed opportunity for me to actually sit there and actually discuss about me engaging in race play when I was younger and actually taking responsibility for my actions, which is something I did not do. But it's something that I'm going to do now. Hmm. Do you hear what he just said? Well, I mean, you don't hear it. But when I was younger and actually taking responsibility for my actions. So back then when you were younger, you was taking responsibility for your actions. But now that you're older, you don't want to take responsibility for your actions. Okay. Mhm. Okay. What I did was I shifted the blame of what happened in my childhood to my actions as an adult. Facts. And even in this interview, you were still trying to play that game. And for me to put that narrative out there is something that is extremely dangerous and something that I would just will never forgive myself for doing. And then you turned around and blamed the subs and the slaves and said that they forced you. So now you're blaming them. Once again, you're not taking responsibility for your actions. It's everybody but you. It's everybody but you. But I was just not in the right place of mind at all. Go through what I went through. So now, because if you went through what I went through, you would understand why I had to have those bags. You would understand why I had to go to Fashion Week. You have to understand why I had to travel to New York, why I had to travel all overseas. You would understand why I engaged in foot fetishes and foot play and all of this stuff and race play. Now, here's the thing. He accepts the foot fetish and the foot play and all of that stuff. That's cool and gravy. Okay. He did that because he enjoyed doing it and making money doing it. But the race play stuff, oh no, that was the forced part. Boy, bye. I'm glad in this interview recently, he's now seeming to take responsibility for his actions and saying he did it for the flipping bag. Okay. Good. Oh gosh, it just made me very desperate. And I just wanted to remove myself from, you know, these dangerous situations. And for people who I know and myself, being abused at a very young age. And once again, he says it in one breath. I used it as an excuse. And it masked over very important conversations that should have happened. What it was a missed opportunity for me to actually talk about and discuss what I did. At one point, I was a dominant male who engaged in race play and foot fetishes and that BDSM lifestyle and made great amount of money until I could be back in the vanilla world. That's where it is. But what you did is once again every time it came down to you taking responsibility, Murad Merali, you went back to using the excuse. There were so many content creators that made content recently were just that they were saying, you know what? We get it at this point. Dude, you're not going to take responsibility. You're always going to cop to the when I was a child, not that I'm 26 years old and something I did just a few years ago. I mean, honestly, I think he only stopped what 2 years ago. Y'all, he really didn't stop that long ago. What he stopped doing, I can't. I just can't. It's ridiculous. Dude, just own your shit. It put me in a line to go into a form of kink work. So now, once again, he's back to blaming childhood. And due to the fact that I was overly sexualized at just a very young age, then coming from the background in the center that I'm from, I ended up being hyper fetishized by people around me. And that was how I began to gauge in works of race play. Dude, you just skipped over the fact that you were enjoying and happily making money selling feet, pics, videos, and sessions and doming people. You just want to slip over that part to okay, okay. Look, y'all. The things that he said and the fact that when you compare the that he said to the fact that Kanye's canceled and Kyrie's canceled over, basically recommending a movie, it blows your mind. It makes you really realize that black racism, black being used, our culture and our community being used for profit and being abused and taken advantage of and hoodwinked, and we cannot speak out against things that we are being oppressed, that opportunities are being oppressed, that we are being used for profits of for other communities. We cannot speak out about those things. And if to do so means that we could be silenced. But Murad Merali is living his best life, and black folks will continue to flip and support him because you know why? We are the most forgiving creatures on this planet, bar none. We are so forgiven that in some way, some people back in slavery time forgive the master for whipping them and stayed on serving master even when they could have their freedom when slavery was over. Hey, you know that character from Django Unchained? Samuel Jackson's character? That's a real character. There are those type of people out there. They really are. And the truth is, Murad Merali is going to get 1 million subscribers, and it's going to be a lot of them are going to be black and brown people that will continue to support this man when he just can't own the fact that he's one kinky mother effer that got off and enjoyed doing what he did for profit. That's the truth. Murad Merali enjoyed being a dom and making fetish content and making money off of it. That's why he was on OnlyFans. And then he talks about, oh well, back in the when I started, there was no OnlyFans. Well, eventually there was an OnlyFans, and you jumped right on it, continuing to sell and profit off of your content that you said at by the time you were 20 something years, you were over. You were over it. Mm, mm, mm. Let's see here. Let me see if I can get back into this right here. I want to see because I want to try and get to him talking about this. But this is the one excuse that he uses. He uses it because he knows he can use this excuse. Because in the next breath, he talks about, oh, he moved on. He just moved on. He moved on. He moved on to something else. Exactly. Exactly. The real thing is he got that damn website because he wanted all the money to himself. He wanted all the profit. He wanted all the profit. That's what the reason behind that website was. Okay, he was in the lifestyle long enough. He made a lot of people money. He probably was on a few websites where they took, 40 or something like 40% of his earnings when he put his videos up there. And he wanted all of his profit. He wanted all of his money so he could live a fabulous lifestyle. And he did. As you could tell from those pictures, he was living a fabulous lifestyle, traveling, wearing the best clothes, eating the best foods, drinking the best drinks, clubbing, partying, living it up. He was. Mhm. Then he wants us to convince us that these were 60s and 50s and 40-year-old men. No, some of them were younger. Some of them were in their 20s. Some of them were in their 30s. So these were younger guys too. Okay. He was messing with across the board a whole spectrum, a whole different, a whole spectrum of variety of men. It wasn't just these 60, 40-year-old men that were doing this. No, 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 with him. No, don't let them convince you of that bull. Okay? Because at first he tells you he did it through the website. Okay. Thank you. That's the truth. Do you hear what he just said? That is the flipping truth. Not this bullshit about his childhood and this, that, and other, and the sad story he's telling y'all. He did it because it gave him control. He can control the website to himself. He could make money. He wasn't abusing anybody. He wasn't harming anybody. This is what they wanted. This is what he wanted. And he did it and he made a bag. That's what he should have gave us in that apology. That's what he should have gave us in the let me explain things. Not this bullshit that he gave us. But because he is in psychology, he played the trigger game with us. Let me trigger these women, these black women's emotions, and let me trigger these white ladies' emotions, and let's trigger these Indians' Let me trigger everybody's emotions and play in their heartstrings and say, oh, so that we can say, oh, he was so abused. He didn't have any choice. He didn't have this choice. He didn't have that choice. But then when you think about it, a child, something that happened when he was at 12, what does it have to do with him at 24? Huh? He wasn't doing it at these fetishes at 12 years old to escape the life. He was doing this in his 20s. Lies, I tell you. Lies. This man is a habitual. I don't want to even call him a habitual liar. I take that back. Okay? This is all allegedly. I take this back. He's a manipulator at the highest level. And he's an excellent manipulator because I guarantee you his numbers are going up. And folks are buying this bullshit that he's spitting. Because in this video is a total contradiction. He goes from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. In one part, you get the truth, and the next part, he's lying to you. The one part, you get the truth of why he's doing this, and the next part, he's lying to you about why he's doing this. The next part, he tells you he was He did this because nobody was getting hurt and he could be in control and he could get the money and he could get to the bag and he could get to the money and he could get the bag. And the next is like, oh, because I was abused and this, make it make sense. This interview that he did, y'all need to watch this interview. It's called A Kink or Something Deeper, and it's by HC Pod. Okay, and I'm going to leave the link for it. And y'all need to watch this because you're going to watch the greatest flip flopper ever alive. This man, this black man, shout out to Yadi, because I'm telling you, he did an amazing job of basically exposing Murad Merali, and he didn't realize it. I don't know if, like, I guess he was trying to stay with the spiel of the abuse, 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 but at some points it just the facade, the whole thing dropped, and he just admitted it's about the bag. Lies, lies, lies. He's lying to you. There were plenty of websites. This is before OnlyFans. What was I want clips out? Hmm? There were I think clips for sale been on here for decades. There's plenty of sites he could have put it on. He didn't do that because he wanted control. And the control was being able to control the bag and getting as much money that he could get out of it so he can live a very glamorous, expensive, lavish lifestyle. That's the truth of it. And he talks about, oh, this was pre OnlyFans day. But when OnlyFans did get created, he jumped on it. So in one breath, he's telling you once, he did it only for 2 years and then he stopped. You know why he stopped? Because OnlyFans came about. And he put his content on OnlyFans. And his content was up on OnlyFans until the heat got hot. And then he took it down. Okay? That's what it is. That's the real truth of it. This is an expose on Murad Merali, and he provided the information. False. Yeah, that's a lie. Oh, maybe he's right. Maybe he's right. Maybe he is right because a lot of these adult sites were only US based. So if they were only US based and they weren't taking UK money or overseas money, then I understand why he would then make his own website because there weren't really that much options maybe for UK based DOMs to make money on websites. Maybe that could be it. But I'm thinking I mean, Clip for Sales probably was maybe in a few other sites. They were, I think they might have been UK and US based. This would give me my annual deposit because he wanted that bag. He wanted to pay his whole, rent off in one, for the year, And if he paid a rent off for a year, then everything else, that's his. He can buy designer clothes with. He can go travel with, live his best life with. Hmm. I want y'all to hear that again. Yep. Yep. No. Not as much. You see, now when he gets called out for his shit, okay? Because he just admitted, I didn't care. I was there to trying to get the bag so I could live my best life, make sure I get my annual rent done out the way, get the rent paid out for the year for this, for my, nice, very expensive place that I live, make sure I got nice clothes so I could go to fashion week, everything. That was the main concern. Okay. Then now and then in the next breath, he's like, but I can't, I can't. I just can't. I can't. Hmm. Yes. I guarantee he was never living underneath a bridge. I guarantee you this man wasn't. But it sounds good. What physical abuse were you dealing with in your 20s? You said that this was in your childhood that these situations happened to you. So you need to make sense. I'm done. Okay. The thing is, he just needs to admit it. This is what he enjoyed doing. Okay. The YouTuber has faced controversy online after videos resurfaced that appear to show him engaging in foot fetish centered content and race play consisting of extreme racial slurs in Riddick threads. Okay. Much of which cannot be embedded for obvious reason. Fans of the podcaster has expressed their views on the content on Twitter. Okay. Some of this content is also not me, and I can profusely apologize. I take full accountability for how this has come across and how everybody has felt from this content. However, he did take responsibility for some of this content, acknowledging that it was not him. So he's not owning it. Okay? He said he just says it. He's not owning it. Some of this content is also not me. I take full accountability. So how do you take full accountability, but then say some of this content isn't me? But your picture's there, and you're promoting it on your website and other Twitter and all over the places. I can't. These screenshots associated with these pictures, the vile racist verbiage that has been used is not written by me. False. Ah. But then in the next part, he says, I admitted having a foot fetish, saying it was a result of being abused at age 14. So that was at 14. What the? Why are you trying to make it seem like at 14 you were doing these fetishes for money? You were a grown ass man. You were 19 years old. He says it. I developed these fetishes, this foot fetish. I developed it through what happened to me. I needed to make money. That was my only goal, to make money. I needed to make money to get out. You were an adult, sir. You were an adult. You were an adult. You were an adult. You weren't that teen. You weren't that little boy. You cannot use what you did as a grown man and weaponize it and use it for an excuse of something you clearly enjoyed doing. Own it. Stop flip-flopping. That's all. I gotta go. Stop flip-flopping. That's all we want. Stop fucking flip-flopping. Murad, Murad Merali, Murad, Murad Merali. You flip-flopper, I'm over you. I got to go. Hit like and subscribe and comment below. But I'm definitely going to put the link for that, interview he did, because that was some flip-flopping at its finest. And you got to read this article as well. Oh my God. I gotta go.